Nectar. Okay, and then view. Okay, so the speaker. Oh, I see Yogeshwar Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam aapko bhi. Okay, so let's get started. I don't know if anybody remembers what we talked about 2 weeks ago. The topic, what was the topic? Hari Bol.
We spoke about the offenses.
Yes, offenses, exactly. So what we're going to do is kind of continue from there, but it's more along the lines of some of the other considerations, like other than offenses, in the performance of devotional service. Okay, so let's see what I should do is, all right, so who would like to read page 73 is where we are, beginning of chapter 9, and it says blasphemy. Any volunteers?
I will read, Prabhu.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Further consideration of devotional principles. Blasphemy. One should not tolerate blasphemy of the Lord or his devotees. In this connection, in the 10th canto, 74th chapter, verse 40 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Sukadeva Goswami tells Parikshit Maharaj, "My dear king, if a person after hearing blasphemous propaganda against the Lord and his devotees does not go away from that place, he becomes bereft of the effect of all pious activities."
Right. Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So basically, it's not good to blaspheme somebody or to hear blasphemy of another person. Now, there is a difference between criticizing, constructive criticism, and blaspheming somebody. So blaspheming usually happens behind the back of a person. If we are a well-wisher of that person, not in our own mind, but in the mind of the other person, then we can offer some constructive criticism. So for example, our guru may criticize us because we know he's our well-wisher, so we don't mind. Guru, I know, is concerned about my how I'm progressing on the path of devotional service. I know he's not envious of me. So therefore, I fully and happily accept any criticism that comes from me. As a matter of fact, I kind of look forward to, because I know if he criticizes, I will improve. So in that sense, criticism is good. But if criticism is done out of envy of the other person, then it's not good. So look at it this way. Criticism out of envy is blasphemy, and it's not good. But if you are a well-wisher of somebody and we're trying to save that person from whatever harm may come to him for, whatever habits or things they do, then it's actually a good thing. So it's not the criticism as such that's bad, but what's the intent, the purpose behind that criticism that decides whether it's good or bad. So criticism with a envious mood is blasphemy. Criticism with a mood of helping the other person is called instruction. Okay, so now we will read that we must walk out of a place where a devotee, any devotee, is being criticized. Otherwise, we will lose all our pious credit. So it's not that it's bad to criticize or blaspheme somebody. It's also bad to hear blasphemy of another person, especially the Lord and Lord's devotees. And if we don't walk away, our progress in the devotional service will definitely be curtailed. So if we want to make progress, we must stay away from blaspheming somebody and from blasphemers of other people. I know it's hard, but we have to be very careful about that. As a matter of fact, I'm sure most of you are familiar with a book called Nectar Instruction. And the text 6 in that says, Drashtay Swabhav Janatay Vapushya Doshe, Na Prakritatva Bhakt Janasya Pashe, Ganga Vasam Na Khalu Budbud Pene Pankay, Brahma Dravottam Apagach Nidharma. It's saying that one should not see any faults in a devotee. Just like, the devotee is pure, just like the water of the Ganges. Even when it's raining and there's all sorts of foam and other things there, the water of the Ganges remains pure, regardless of what contamination is being mixed with it. So similarly, we must stay away from criticizing a devotee because, Krishna says, apichesu duracharo. Bhajtamam ananya bhak sadhreva mantavya samyak vyasato isi. 931, Krishna says, even if a devotee falls down accidentally, we should still consider him a devotee and not criticize him. So it's that important. Okay. Any questions or comments before we move to the next paragraph? Okay. So the next paragraph is going to talk about we should be okay to tolerate criticism of ourselves. Somebody is criticizing us, that should be okay. But we should not tolerate blasphemy or criticism of a devotee of Krishna or Krishna himself. And we're going to see the example of Lord Nityanand, how he tolerated Jagai and Madhai attacking him, but Lord Chaitanya did not. Okay, so would somebody like to volunteer to read the next paragraph?
Sure, Prabhuji, I can read.
Yeah, please go ahead.
In one of Lord Chaitanya's Shiksha Ashtaka verses, it is stated, the devotee should be more tolerant than the tree and more submissive than the grass. He should offer all honor to others, but may not accept any honor for himself.
So what verse is
In
that?
spite of, this is Trinadapi Sulkena Tarorapi Sahushuna Amanina Mandena Kitanya Sada Hari.
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Guru Maharaj oftentimes he kind of quotes Guru Maharaj.
Correct.
In spite of Lord Chaitanya's being so humble and meek as a devotee, when he was informed about injuries inflicted on the body of Sri Nityanand, he immediately ran to the spot and wanted to kill the offenders, Jagai and Madhai. This behavior of Lord Chaitanya's is very significant. It shows that a Vaishnava may be very tolerant and meek, foregoing everything for his personal honor, but when it is a question of the honor of Krishna or his devotee, he will not tolerate any insult.
Correct. So once again, it's okay to tolerate somebody insulting us, blaspheming us, just like Lord Nityanand did, but not okay to tolerate the blaspheming of another devotee or Krishna, like Lord Chaitanya did not. He actually basically got out of his mission and called upon Sudarshan Chakra to chop off the head of Jagai and Madhai. It's that important. Okay, all right. So then how do we deal with the insults? Let's talk about the next paragraph. Anyone?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Mataji, sure, please go ahead.
There are three ways of dealing with such insults. If someone is heard blaspheming by words, one should be so expert that he can defeat the opposing party by argument. If he is unable to defeat the opposing party, then the next step is that he should not just stand there meekly, but should give up his life. The third process is followed if he is unable to execute the above mentioned two processes, and this is that one must leave the place and go away. If a devotee does not follow any of the above mentioned three processes, he falls down from the position of devotion.
Thank you, Mataji. So in the first instance, Rupa Goswami is recommending that we should get into a debate with the person who's blaspheming and defeat him by proper arguments. And the story I'm thinking about is when there was this very puffed up person. I think I can't remember the name now, but he was also known as Digvijay, not the same Digvijay who debated with Lord Chaitanya. Sorry, I can't remember the name. Anyway, he was going around collecting signatures from people accepting defeat, and he heard that Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami are very learned people, and he felt that if he defeated them, that his honor and prestige will go up significantly. So he went to them and said, either you debate with me, or sign this paper which says you accept defeat. Now, Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami could easily defeat this person, but they did not want to waste their time with this person. He's a fool. So they said, yeah, give me the paper, give us the paper, we'll sign it. And they both signed that paper. Now, Jiva Goswami heard that. So on the banks of Radhakund, he stopped him and invited him to debate. And the debate went on for 7 days. And finally, Jiva Goswami thoroughly defeated him. And this person just went away totally embarrassed. However, when Jiva Goswami went back to Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they were extremely upset. And they said, why did you waste 7 days of your time arguing with this fool? You could have done so much devotional service in that time. You could have done so much service in that time. Why did you do that? And Rupa Goswami was so angry, he said, get out of my face. I don't want to see you anymore. It's a longer story on that, but basically he told him to get out of Vrindavan. So that's how serious he was about not wasting time. But in our case, if we have the possibility of doing that, we should do that. If, however, we're not able to defeat that person, we feel that this person is more qualified for whatever reason, then don't just stand there meekly. According to Rupa Goswami, give up your life. I'm not recommending that. I don't think it should apply in this time and age. And we should use the third process, which is walk away from that place. Just don't stay there. And Rupa Goswami says that if we don't follow any of these three, then we will definitely fall down from our position of devotion service. Okay. Any questions or comments? That's the discussion on the topic of blasphemy. Any questions or comments? Okay. All right. Then somebody please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
everyone.
Hare Krishna. Hare Jessica, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Nice seeing you guys again.
I've heard that,
Quick
yeah.
question. Not a question, but more like a comment. This kind of question comes up or comment comes up many times in
Hare Krishna.
Don't keep us in suspense. What were you trying to say? You didn't finish your sentence.
it's good to have an open discussion, they said.
So Jessica, we couldn't hear anything you said.
Oh, sorry, I'm just walking home now. I just got off of the bus. So I was saying, even as book distributors, we get trained that if a conversation is unfavorable and they're speaking ill of ISKCON and it's not an open discussion, it's better just to walk away because
Yes.
their minds are pretty much set up. So
Correct.
yes, it was a very nice reminder and good point. Thank you.
Thank you. That's very good. Yeah. Okay. Radhavinoda Prabhu, were you trying to say something?
No, Prabhuji, I had a problem to log in, so log in late.
Okay. No worries.
Pranam.
Welcome, Prabhu. Welcome. Okay. All right. Next point is Tilak and Tulsi Beads. Somebody like to read that, please? Do we have a
I can
volunteer?
read, Prabhu.
Please go ahead.
Yes, I can read. Okay.
Go ahead.
Tilak and Tulsi beads. In the Padma Purana, there is a statement describing how a Vaishnava should decorate his body with tilaka and beads. Person who puts Tulsi beads on the neck, who marks 12 places of their body as Vishnu temple with Vishnu symbolic representation. The 4 items held in the forehead of Lord Vishnu, Kansh, mace, disc, and lotus, and who have Vishnu Tilak on their foreheads, are to be understood as the devotee of Lord Vishnu in this world. Their presence makes the world purified, and anywhere they remain, they make the place as good as Vaikuntha.
Right. Thank you. So Padma Purana is describing how a Vaishnava should dress. And the emphasis is not on what the quality of a kurta, dhoti, or sari, but on the marks that we put on our body and putting the Tulsi beads, kanthi, or the necklace on our neck. Now, it talks about 12 places of our body where we put out these markings, considering our body to be a temple. And as we know, there are 4 symbolic representations of Lord Vishnu, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, and Padma. And so a lot of people use those marks to decorate their body. Majority of us, at least in ISKCON, majority of us don't do that. We rather put the what's called as Vishnu Urdh Pundra Tilak, which means it's the very long U shape, and then this Tulsi bead at the bottom. That's the Vishnu Tilak, and that's what we use, not just on our forehead, but also the 12 parts of the body. I'm assuming everybody knows what those 12 parts are. And then there's a mantra that we chant, remembering the 12 names of Lord Narayan or Lord Vishnu, whatever what you want to use. And that's our decoration of the body as a devotee of Lord Vishnu. And of course, Padma Purana also says that the presence of a devotee purifies that place. Why? Because the devotee is carrying the Lord in his heart or her heart. Now, some people wear the necklace, the kanthi, for fashion, and that's not good. We have to be very strict with the rules when we wear kanthi in terms of what we eat, what we talk about. Also, some people have different variations of the kanthi, like some have combination of gold and Tulsi bead and some other metal and Tulsi bead, or they attach something to it. That's not good. It should be straight Tulsi beads and use the kanthi or necklace for that. Okay, and if you're eating meat and things like that, do not wear the kanthi. Okay, any questions or comments? All right, then we'll move on.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Prabhu, can you explain more about Tilaka significance, like the Tulsi beads and 2 lines represents and what center represents?
Yeah. Okay, you got me here. I'm not sure I can explain it very well. I have read it, but I can't remember right now what the details are. But all I remember is that the bottom portion remembers Tulsi beads, Tulsi leaf, I should say, and the upper portion represents the Lord Vishnu. So it's Lord Vishnu and the Tulsi leaf as a combination. But I know there are some more details that I cannot remember. Is there anybody on this call who remembers the details?
Yes, Prabhuji. Can I?
Please, of course, Devjani, go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
By the way,
Prabhuji.
this is first time Devjani is here. She's just come new from India, 3 months, but very, very good devotee. So please, Devjani, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. So as I was told by my senior devotee that the upper portion it's lotus feet of Lord, and the bottom portion is the leaf, Tulsi leaf. Like whenever we are offering Tulsi leaf on his lotus feet, that is the mark.
Okay, Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully we'll get that answers your question.
Yes,
Yeah,
Prabhu.
I'll look into it, Prabhu, and hopefully remind me next week and I will try to answer it in more detail.
Sure, Prabhu. Okay.
Yeah.
No
Did
problem.
anyone-
Prabhuji, I have one question actually.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, whenever we are putting this kanthi mala and then again as a grihas, we have to like do a lot of things for our family members as well. So how far is this onion and garlic is concerned? Like if we cannot avoid it, so then should we still wear the Tulsi kanthi mala?
Yeah. So very good question. The idea of wearing Tulsi Kanthi is that as you eat something, you're basically offering it. So clearly, if you're eating things that cannot be offered, then it's a little tricky with the Tulsi beads on your neck. So the ideal situation is no, but it is not that great. If you're only talking about onion and garlic, it's not that great an offense if you have Tulsi beads on. But it's not ideal. But meat and all that, definitely no.
Yeah, that
It's
is
just,
of course.
it's just a concession.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome. Anybody else?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, if we wear the kanthi mala, we should chant 16 mass.
So who's speaking? I can't see who's speaking. Is it,
Yes,
oh,
sir.
I see you now. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, please, one more time.
If you want to wear a kanthi mala, Prabhu,
Uh-huh.
we must chant 16 malas, Prabhu.
No. Nice if you can. But even if you're not chanting at all, even if you're chanting one round, you can still wear it. And now some people say that if you're not initiated, you should go only one around the neck once. And only when you're initiated, it should go around 3 times. And I don't have any scriptural evidence of that, but a lot of people say that that's the way. But regardless, the point is you can wear kanthi mala even if you're not chanting. It has more to do with...
Then in that case, kids also can wear, Prabhu.
Absolutely, yes.
Because
Yeah.
they don't chant 16 rounds.
Yeah, that's fine. So make it 1 round, just to be safe. But yeah, they can wear. Actually, it's a good thing if they wear because they have consciousness. Explain to them what it means, and there'll be greater consciousness on their part if they're wearing a kanthi.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Sure, you're welcome. Anybody else?
Prabhuji, why initiated devotees wear 3? Is there a significance to it?
Honestly, I don't know, and I've not seen any scriptural evidence of that. But some people insist that no, that's the way it is. So I say, okay, fine. I don't know, and I don't know if there will be a problem if you wore 3 times. But as I said, some people insist on that. I have not seen any evidence. So by all means, wear 3 rounds around your neck, no problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Sorry, go ahead, Mata.
Go ahead, Mataji, you go ahead.
पहले आप. Okay, Mansi, I see you on the screen. Actually, I see your name on the screen. So if you want to go ahead, go ahead.
So yeah, I have heard in one of the lecture that why we wear 3 beads. It's because before initiation, people wear 1 or 2. It's 1 or 2 represents Radha Krishna, but after initiation, it's 3 because it represents Radha Krishna and Guru.
Okay, so thank you. But you have seen any scriptural evidence of that?
No. I just heard that.
Yeah,
in
that's what
one
I'm
of the
saying. So different people give different reasons. They talk differently, but I haven't seen
Yes.
anything. So this is why I was saying that, yeah, this is what people say, but there's no evidence that I have seen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Sonu? Oh, sorry. Sakhi Sarupani. Okay, you're going to mention the same thing? All right. By the way, Mansi also got initiated. Her name is now Mansi Ganga. And Sonam is Sakhi Swarupani. So congratulations to both of them as well. Okay, somebody should mute yourself. Okay, there you go.
Guruji, it's Sakhi Swarupa.
Swarupa, I read again, it says Swarupani, so we'll check.
I don't know, in the paper that Guru Maharaj gave me,
Huh.
it's Swarupa.
Swarupa, okay, then we'll go with Swarupa then. Sakhi Swarupa. Devi Dasi.
Thank you, Guru. Thank you, Guruji.
Hari Bol.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So if there are no other questions, then let's keep going. Somebody wants to read the next paragraph? Similar statement.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please, of course.
A similar statement is in the Skanda Purana, which says, persons who are decorated with Tilaka or Gopi Chandana, a kind of clay resembling fuller's earth that is produced in certain quarters of Vrindavana, and who mark their bodies all over with the holy names of the Lord, and on whose necks and breasts there are Tulsi beads, are never approached by the Yamadutas. The Yamadutas are the constables of King Yama, the Lord of Death, who punishes all sinful men. Vaishnavas are never called for by such constables of Yamaraja. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the narration of Ajamila's deliverance, it is said that Yamaraja gave clear instructions to his assistants not to approach the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are beyond the jurisdiction of Yamaraja's activities.
Yeah.
The Padma Purana also, can I just finish that, Prabhu, or no?
Sure, go ahead.
The Padma Purana also mentions a person whose body is decorated with the pulp of sandalwood with paintings of the holy name of the Lord is delivered from all sinful reactions, and after his death, he goes directly to Krishna Loka to live in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. So a couple of other comments. In some countries, and actually most countries, if we are a little shy, we may not want to wear a prominent looking tilak on our forehead when we go to the office or outside. So it's okay to have a tilak from marked from water in that situation, and rest of the body has the markings with the sandalwood. So that's or Gopi Tilaka, I should say, Gopi Chandan. So that's one point. The other point I wanted to make was that the statement that it makes about the Yamadutas getting the instruction from Yamaraj to not go near the devotees, or actually anyone wearing a Tulsi beads. So actually there's a very famous story about a person in Vrindavan who was wearing Tulsi beads on all parts of his body, his neck, his waist, his arms, his hands, and people said, "You're a Muslim, and why are you wearing this Tulsi beads in all your body parts?" And he said, "Let me share this story with you." He said, one day I was walking on the street and there was a bullock cart with two people on it, and obviously two bullocks pulling it. It was full of all sorts of things. Suddenly I saw these two very strong, terrible looking people. They came and they lifted the bullock cart and they threw it on the ground. And the two men and the two bullocks, they fell in different places, and they were collecting their souls. But when they came to this person, they stopped and said, "We cannot touch him." And the other person said, the other strong, terrible looking person said, "Why?" I said, "His hand is touching the Tulsi plant." And this man said, when I heard that, then I said, "Well, okay, then from now on, I want to make sure that Tulsi is always touching some part of my body." And because I cannot carry a plant all the time, I'll wear kanti on all parts of my body. So somewhere, some part of my body should always be touching so that when the Yamadutas come, they leave me alone. So that's it. It's a true story. So basically, the devotees never have to worry about or fear the Yamadutas, because as per the instruction of Yamaraj, anybody whose head has ever bowed down in front of Krishna, anybody who's ever taken Krishna's name, should not be approached by any of the Yamadutas. Just leave them alone, because otherwise there'll be big trouble, like you did with Ajamil. Okay, so any questions or comments on that?
Hey Dad, can I share a quick story?
Sure, Radha Bhakti.
So we were just at this youth retreat in Gita Nagari, and we were asking some of the kids to share stories of faith. And one of the young girls, maybe like 20 years old or so, was saying that she and her devotee friends were one day playing with a Ouija board. You know what a Ouija board is?
Mm-hmm.
You like call spirits. Yeah. And so they were like trying to call Srila Prabhupada. They were trying to make it devotional, but they were using a Ouija board. And at one point they were like, okay, let's try to call Bloody Mary. And that's known to be like, I don't know from what faith, but like a really horrible demon. And so they were like, apparently she came, and one of the kids was like, I don't believe it. That's like, there's no way she's here right now. And so then he asked the Ouija board, okay, well, if you're really Bloody Mary, why haven't you killed us yet? And she answered, because of what you're wearing around your neck. I can't, because of what you're wearing around your neck. So that was also a true story. Yeah.
Wow. That's unbelievable story. Thanks for sharing, Radha Bhakti.
Prabhuji, I have one question.
Bolo.
Okay, so as I understand, whether you have faith or not faith, it's better to wear Tulsi bead. Is that the conclusion, Prabhuji?
Well, so yes, it does do you good to wear it. The only thing is, if you have no faith, then you might start eating meat and all that, and that's not good.
Okay, so some regulations are required.
Oh, no, lots of regulations are required. You know, even the question about onion and garlic, I was just being, okay, you can have that concession. At least the consciousness will be increased if you're wearing kanti. But if you have no consciousness of it, you're just wearing as a necklace for fashion, that is not good.
Okay. So the second, Prabhuji, when somebody dies, it is recommended that in dead body, the soul has already left, and when they cremate, put that Tulsi bead, and it is recommended there, or Tulsi, wood of Tulsi plant. So already the soul has left. That body we are cremating. So how does it, how, just to understand?
No problem. You're right. It doesn't do anything for the soul, because as you said, it's already left. Right? Yeah. It just makes the place a little more auspicious than it would be otherwise.
Okay.
So that's why they say, put Tulsi, dry Tulsi and things like that, not leaves, what do you call the stems and the twigs.
Stems, yeah.
Yeah. So they say that. But no, it's not doing anything for them.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure.
And Prabhuji, may I ask a question, Prabhu?
Of course.
Prabhu, what is the right way to discard a torn, like a wear and tear Tulsi, Prabhu? Like, how do we get rid of it? Like, can we bury it in the soil? Like, what do we do?
Well, so
that which has
different ways. One is you put it in a flowing body of water. If it's Ganga, Yamuna, this will be better. But if not, Lake Ontario will do. If you can do that, you can, when somebody is getting initiated, you have Havan Yagya going on, you can offer that in the Yagya. And of course, you can always put it in a garden or something for it to basically, what do you call it?
Decompose.
Thank you. Oh, you're so good. Yeah, decomposed and, meet the earth kind of thing. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Anybody else? Okay, let's move to the next paragraph. Accepting flower garlands.
Can I read, Prabhu?
Please, of course.
Accepting flowers and flower garlands. The next instruction is that one should put on flower garlands that are offered to the deity. In this connection, in the 11th canto, 6th chapter, verse 46 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Uddhava says to Krishna, "My dear Krishna, I have taken things that you have used and enjoyed, such as garlands of flowers, scented oils, garments, and ornaments, and I eat only the remnants of your foodstuff, because I am your menial servant. So, therefore, I am sure that I shall not be attacked by the spell of the material energy."
Right.
The purport of this
Please go ahead. Yeah.
The purport of this verse is that for any person who simply follows these rules and regulations of decorating the body with the marks of Tilaka made from Gopi Chandana or sandalwood pulp, and who puts on the garlands that were offered to Krishna, there is no question of being conquered by the spell of material energy. At the time of death, there is no question of such a person being called by the constables of Yamraja. Even if one does not accept all the Vaishnava principles, but still takes the remnants of foodstuffs offered to Krishna or Krishna Prasada, he will gradually become qualified to rise to the platform of Vaishnava.
Right. Thank you. So, and it happens in all our temples. Garlands of flowers offered to the Lord are then distributed, and we should all make an attempt to ensure that we can wear it, smell it, at least for a few seconds. Same thing with eating prasadam. We should stick to eating only prasadam, because when we do that, our self is purified, and devotional service is all about purification. So this is very important. Again, it's also being said here that if we put the garlands on, smell the flowers, eat prasadam, then basically, and mark the body with the tilak, wear kanti mala, then we will not be affected by Maya. And the Yamdutas will not come to us at the time of our death. And then it goes on to say that even if you don't do all of that, but just accept the prasadam and nothing but prasadam, you will eventually become purified and come to the platform of a Vaishnava. There's a very wonderful bhajan that Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written in a book called Sharanagati. And in that, one of the most famous bhajans is Shuddha Bhakat Charana Renu Bhajan Anukul. In that bhajan, there's a stanza which says, Jugal Murti Dekhiya Mora Param Anand Hoy Prasad Seva Karite Hoy Sakala Prapanch Jai. He's saying that I get a lot of pleasure from just looking at the deities of Radha and Krishna. And when I honor the prasadam offered to Radha and Krishna, then I know all my prapancha, which means my attachment to the material things, cycle of birth, repeated birth and death, the tendency to do prajalpa, all those things simply disappear. All the prapancha is gone simply from honoring the prasadam. And that is why in ISKCON we always say, do not eat anything that's not offered. You know, in where is it? In chapter 3, text 13, what does Krishna say? Yagya Shishtashinah Santa Muchante Sarvakri Vishay Munjite tu Agham Papam Ye Pachanti Atma Karanat. He's saying that those who honor prasadam, all their sinful reactions are gone. But those who cook for themselves and eat without offering to me is simply eating sinful reactions. So that's the point. We should stick to eating prasadam. And that is so important that even if you're not able to to follow some of the other principles, just eating prasadam will get us to the platform Vaishnava. That's why we always encourage people, even those who say, well, I'm here only for prasadam, encourage them to come back, have more prasadam, because we know one day, simply from eating prasadam, they will become devotees. And frankly, we have many people in our Toronto temple who will tell you that they become devotees simply out of eating prasadam. Okay. Okay, let's read the last paragraph of this section before we have any.
Prabhuji, can you please repeat that bhajan?
Bhajan? Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu? So it says here,
yes.
Shuddha Bhakata Charana Renu, Bhajan Anukul, Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhi, Bhakata Seva Paramasiddhu. Oh my God, I have to sing it in my heart before I say. Premalatikar Mool. Thank you. So Bhakat Seva Param Siddhi Premalatikar Mool. So in that there is a stanza which says Jugal Murti Dekhiya Mora Param Anand Hoy Prasad Seva Karite Hoy Sakala Prapanch Jaya. It's basically saying that when I see the deities of Radha and Krishna, I get lots of pleasure. And I know that simply eating their prasadam, honoring their prasadam, I should say, all my material attachments will simply disappear. So you can actually
Thank
Google
you so
this.
much, Prabhuji.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, let's do the last paragraph of this section. Similarly.
Should I just complete too?
Sure, go ahead.
Similarly, in the Skanda Purana, Lord Brahma tells Narada, my dear Narada, anyone who puts on his neck the flower garland which is formerly used by Krishna becomes relieved from all disease and reactions to sinful activities, and gradually he is liberated from the contamination of matter.
Just imagine just the effect of putting that garland that is offered to Krishna on our neck can do this. So by the way, drinking Charnamrit has the same effect. It also relieves us from all disease and all reactions to the sinful activities. So they are basically on equal level, honoring Charnamrit or wearing the garland that's been offered to the Lord. And we all know the famous ISKCON bullets that Srila Prabhupada came up with, the Rasagullas. Is basically offering them to anybody who came. And so many of those people became devotees simply from eating ISKCON bullets. Okay, any questions, comments?
Yes, Prabhu, I'd like, as you know, I'm here in India and we were performing the last rites for my mother.
Mm-hmm.
So the priest who was doing the last puja, he mentioned that everyone should drink Charnamrit every day, which is offered to the Lord, and that will basically save you from any kind of disease. And he went on further, he said that he has some very old scripture. He says in that scripture, it is very clearly mentioned that if you drink Charnamrit every day, then you will be saved from not even getting cancer.
Yeah, I believe that. Actually, there is a very wonderful mantra that we should chant before we honor Charnamrit. And let me see if I can recall it. Akal mrityu haranam sarva vyadhi vinashanam vishnora padodakam pitva shirisha dharyamyam. It literally means that akal mrityu, which is untimely death, and all the so akal mrityu haranam means untimely death will not happen. Sarva vyadhi vinashanam means any kind of diseases, all kinds of diseases will be gone simply from honoring the Charnamrit of Lord Vishnu. So therefore, I honor it and then I put it on my head. So that's the process. We drink it from the hand, and then after drinking it, it's a little wet, so we wipe it on the back of our head. That's the process. So yes, Prabhu.
And he also further mentioned that there is a process to make to prepare the Charanamrit. We just cannot add whatever quantity we want. It is in a particular sequence. I don't remember, but I'll make sure that I ask him again. But he says that it has to be in certain quantities. So the maximum quantity is the milk, and then you add the other 4 items in a certain quantity, which go in the decreasing order, and the least amount is the sugar or shakkar, what you add.
Yeah, so different people will tell you different things to add. So the most common is water, milk, yogurt, honey, and ghee.
Yeah. So he said that, but he said the portions are in a certain order.
Okay. You mean order, the quantity you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's possible. I'm not.
Yeah, the quantity wise.
Yeah, so that I don't know, but that's usually the order in which we do this.
Right. So Prabhu, I have a question also regarding prasadam. So now when we are traveling, and in the family also, not everybody is a devotee, and they're not offering, or if they're offering, it's not being offered in the right fashion. So how do you, like we were just discussing that we should only take prasadam. So how do you offer in that situation? Can we just do a mental offering because we are not that pure, and so how like,
yeah, so if you're traveling or you're not carrying prasadam with you, then basically you take it and pray to your spiritual master, and then you honor it. It's not the best, but it's better than just simply taking it. But it's better if you can carry prasadam with you, home cooked prasadam, and then you honor that during your journey. This is what, like I've seen Guru Maharaj do that. This is what Prabhupada was doing. They won't take anything from the plane or whatever. They'll have something they'll carry with them, and that's what they will honor.
No, what I meant was when, like, I'm living with my family right now, and then I'll be further traveling. So for the plane portion, yeah, you take it, but what after that?
After that or before that?
No, like after that, when you're still traveling, like I'm traveling in India right now.
No, but what I'm saying is carry with you enough to last you that journey.
Oh, okay.
Right. So if your journey is 15 hours, then carry enough to last 15 hours.
Okay.
Right. And at home, you should be able to offer it to the Lord, a picture of the Lord or something. You should be able to offer even if you're home. Just make sure that's now known in garlic. You should be able to do that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right. Then let's dance before the deity. Who wants to dance? Okay, Nana, go ahead.
Okay. Dancing before the deities. My favorite activity to do. I was about to say when we were talking about prasadam, I don't know, this is something that happens to me. No matter when you're cooking, you're thinking about Krishna. But when it comes to, offering prasad, always it happens that either somebody comes and take a bite out of it. And I'm like, oh, Krishna, I have 2 kids, so they often do it. Or otherwise, when you put your first bite in your mouth and it's almost touching your lips, you're like, forget to offer. So that's a story. We're still learning. I don't know how many
it's okay.
How many of us go through
as your consciousness increases, you'll be.
So dancing before the deities. In the Dwaraka Mahatmya, The importance of dancing before the deities is stated by Lord Krishna as follows. A person who is in the jubilant spirit, who feels profound devotional ecstasy while dancing before me, and who manifests different features of their bodily expression, can burn away all the accumulated sinful reaction he has stocked up for many, many thousands of years. In the same book, there is a statement by Narada, wherein he asserts, from the body of any person who claps and dances before the deities, showing manifestations of ecstasy, all the birds of sinful activities fly away upwards. Just by clapping the hands, one can cause many birds to fly away. Similarly, the birds of all sinful activities which are sitting in the body can be made to fly away simply by dancing and clapping before the deities of Krishna.
Wow. Yeah, so what an easy way to go to Krishna. You dance in front of him and get rid of all these sinful reactions stocked up for many, many thousands of years, and clap and dance. And it's very interesting that Narada Muni is saying that just as by clapping the hands, one can cause many birds to fly away. Similarly, the birds of all sinful activities which are sitting on the body fly away simply by dancing and clapping. So actually, with my nephews and grandkids, when they were younger, I used to have a question for them. There are 6 birds sitting on a branch of a tree, and a hunter comes and he shoots, bang, and one bird falls down on the ground. So how many left on the branch? There were 6 to start with.
All are gone.
Huh?
All are gone. Zero. All are
gone. That's right. So same thing. They hear the sound and they all fly away. So similarly, we clap and all the sinful reactions fly away. So Prabhupada is making a big point of that therefore we should always clap when Kirtan is going on. Either dance or clap or do both. So somebody asked him, kind of in a joking way, somebody said, so Srila Prabhupada, where do these sinful reactions go when they fly away? So you're basically clapping and making them go away, but where do they go? Srila Prabhupada said, they land on the shoulders of those who do not clap.
That's good.
Very, very witty answer.
Very good answer.
Very encouraging for others.
Very encouraging for others. That's exactly right. So do not forget to clap next time you hear dancing. Singing. Okay, so Prabhupada also said that if you clap as you are dancing or chanting or listening to chanting, the lines in your palm actually change as we clap and change for the better, I'm assuming. So, but he'd make that point. So if you want to change your fate, your destiny, clap during a kirtan and it will happen.
Yeah, Prabhuji, medically also it is good for the blood circulation.
Yes, that's for sure. The pressure points, yeah.
Yeah, pressure points.
Yeah, that's very true. Okay, let's go to the next one, bowing down in honor of the deity. Who wants to bow down? Sorry?
I can read, Prabhuji.
I can read, Prabhuji.
Okay, go ahead.
Go, Prabhuji.
Okay. So bowing down in honor of the deity. In the Naradiya Purana, there is a statement about bowing down and offering respect to the deity. It is said there, a person who has performed a great ritualistic sacrifice and a person who has simply offered his respectful obeisances by bowing down before the Lord cannot be held as equals. The person who has executed many great sacrifices will attain the result of his pious activities. But when such results are finished, he has to take birth again on the earthly planet. However, the person who has once offered respect, bowing down before the deity, will not come back to this world because he will go directly to the abode of Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Yeah,
So this is really talking about the difference between a pious activity and devotional activity. The results of pious activities are always temporary and force you to take birth again and again. On the other hand, devotional service takes you back to the Goloka, Krishna Loka, from where you don't have to come back. So that's one point. So therefore, there's really no comparison between doing all these yagyas, fire sacrifices, and bowing down in front of the Lord. Like, it's a lot easier, a lot less expensive, a lot less time consuming, and much, much better results. The pious activities, as I said, the results are temporary, whereas the spiritual activities, devotional activities, the results are eternal. And that's why Lord Krishna said this twice in Bhagavad Gita, 934 and 1865. What did he say? Man mana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskar. Mame vashasi yuktyam. What is it? Yukta evam mat parayana, something like that. Anyway. Sorry?
Mame veshyasi yuktva evam atmanam matprayana.
Atmanam matprayana, that's right. Thank you, Prabhu. And then 65 is manmana bhavat bhakto madhyaji mam namaskar. Mame vashasi tapte. Not. Mame vashasi.
Satyam te priyasime.
Yes, yeah. So basically, repeating it, always think of me, become my devotee, offer me obeisances. And that's basically the reason why saying that is so much better than doing all this sacrifices. Don't even go for that. I know that the 6 Goswamis had had rules regarding offering obeisances, dandavats, and doing chanting. So they actually would set up a quota for a whole day and meet it. So Raghunath Goswami used to offer 1,000 dandavats a day, or 1,008, whatever, a day, every day. That's how important that is. There was another instance. There was a devotee by the name of Abhiram Thakur. He was a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, an associate of Lord Chaitanya. Spiritually, he was so powerful that it is said that if he offered his obeisances to a Shaligram Shila, which was not genuine, then the Shila would burst. And if he offered his obeisances to somebody who was not a genuine Vaishnava, that person will die immediately. So what happened was, once there was a kid, actually, Lord Chaitanya named him Gopal Guru. And what happened was that one time this boy saw a man going to the washroom and holding his tongue with his hand. So he asked him, what are you doing? Why are you holding your tongue? And the man said that I'm going to the latrine, which is a dirty place. So therefore I cannot chant Lord's name, but I cannot stop chanting. So I'm holding my tongue so I won't chant. And the boy said, no, there's no restriction on time and place where you can chant. Niyamta smarana kala. No, there's no time, there's no particular space, place where you cannot chant. So go ahead and chant. Lord Chaitanya heard that. And he became so happy with this boy, he gave him the name Gopal Guru. Anyway, so one day, Abhiram Thakur, the person with so much power that the non-genuine Shaligram Shila will burst, non-genuine Vaishnava will die if you offer obeisances. He said, I want to see how pure this Gopal Guru is. So he went to visit him, and everybody became so nervous. This is just a boy, he may not be pure enough, and if Abhiram Thakur offers obeisances, then he will die. So they were really concerned, and they're talking to each other, what's he doing? Let's stop him and all that. But when Gopal Guru saw Abhiram Thakur coming his way, he ran and sat on the lap of Lord Chaitanya. And Abhiram Thakur offered his obeisances to Gopal Guru, and nothing happened. It basically proved to everyone that Gopal Guru was actually a very pure devotee. So just a side note, interesting story about offering obeisances. Any questions or comments?
Prabhuji, again, paying obeisances by person, Mataji and Prabhuji, there are differences, right?
Correct. So Matajis do not offer dandavat, which means falling down like a rod. They do what's called panchang pranam, whereas men offer what's known as ashtang pranam. So essentially, the three things that are different. So let me see if I can remember. The feet, the thighs, the stomach, the chest, that's 4, your head and your hands, that's 6. No, sorry. So the legs, the stomach, the chest, that's 3, forehead, 4, hands, 5, and then mind, eyes, mind, words, what's the third one? Man, buddhi. Yeah, so I'm missing something. So with the mind, with the words, the third is words. So those are the 8.
Is it ego, Prabhu?
No, not ego, the words.
Okay.
And so basically what that means is that when men are offering their obeisances, they're at the same time be looking at the Lord through the eyes of their mind and chanting the pranami mantra. So that's men. Women are supposed to do 5 only, and basically they're not supposed to touch their stomach and their chest and mind,
Thighs.
Thighs. Okay, yeah. So they're not supposed to touch that, and the reason is that the stomach and the breasts of a woman are considered sacred places, and they should not touch the ground. And that's the reason why women are not allowed to do Dandavat Pranam. They should do Panchang Pranam. Men can do either, but the more proper for men is Dandavat, which is Ashtang.
Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Again, one more now, since we are talking about how to pay from left and right? So those who are suppose somebody is personally existing, then from the right you have to pay obeisances, and Srila Prabhupada, he's not there, we pay from the left, right?
So basically, if your guru is alive, you offer him obeisances, keeping him on your left. All the deities you offer obeisances, keeping them on your left. This is Vishnu Tattva deities. If your guru is alive, then you keep him, offer him obeisances, keeping him to your right.
Right.
If you are offering obeisances to any demigods for whatever reason, you're supposed to keep them to your right.
Thank you.
So that's why in our temple, we don't start from Jagannath end. We start from Lord Chaitanya end, because that's the only way we have them on our left. Similarly, for circumambulating, you keep whoever is circumambulated to your right. And it's always clockwise.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mansi Ganga.
I have a question. For Srila Prabhupada, do we need to offer our obeisances to left or right?
So keeping him to your left.
Okay.
Okay, because he's no longer on this planet. But if it is Gopal Krishna Maharaj, then keep him on your right.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Dad, do you know why?
So the way it was explained to me was that you always keep the senior personality on your left. And the reason the distinction is made when the Guru is live is because it's happening in front of Prabhupada. So therefore, out of respect for Prabhupada, we go the other way for the live Guru. Otherwise, it's the Vedic custom that whomever is most senior, you keep him to your left as you
And
offer
did you just
obeisances.
say, and did you just say to Prabhupada, he's supposed to be on our right?
Prabhupada is supposed to be on our left when you offer
On
obeisances.
our left, even though he's no longer on the planet.
No, because he's not. If the Guru is alive, then you keep the Guru on your right side.
Okay. So if the Guru is alive, he's on the right when you offer obeisances. If the Guru is not, then he stays on the left.
Correct. So that's why if you visualize when you go to a Toronto temple, that's why I always try to enter from the right entrance as opposed to left entrance. So I can go offer obeisances to the deities right as soon as you enter. And you go to the Prabhupada and you're standing on the east side. So the Prabhupada is on the left. And you offer obeisances, then you go and you turn around when you go to the deities. You turn around 180 degrees. So once again, the deities are now on your left and you offer obeisances.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, just need one clarification. So let's say if Guru Maharaj is walking on the sidewalk, right? And then I'm just giving an example, like a scenario whereby I faced it. So Guru Maharaj is walking on the sidewalk. He's on the sidewalk going for a walk. And then I saw Guru Maharaj. So is it okay to offer him straight Dandvat? Because
yeah, absolutely, it's okay. And you should do that from the front. Don't wait until it's on the side and you do from the side. If it's walking,
yeah, so the street is okay, right?
Right up, right. As soon as you see him, you offer obeisances.
Right. Okay.
Don't wait to get within 5 feet of him and then you do it. As soon as you see him, you offer obeisances.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure.
And also, Prabhu, I've also been told that as soon as I enter the temple, even before I pay my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, we pay our obeisances to all the Vaishnavas gathered there, the Bhagavatas first, and then we start from Srila Prabhupada. Is that correct, Prabhu? Because I always do that and I chant one Chakalpatrubhyascha. Is that okay?
If the deity doors are open, the only person you offer obeisances to your own Guru and Srila Prabhupada, nobody else. So, for example, if I can take an example, another sannyasi walks in, deity doors are open, but this sannyasi is not your Guru, you do not offer obeisances. Just fold your hands, offer namaste.
Okay. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Sure. Jai Shri Radha Chicho Gopinath ki jai ho. Okay, all right. So then we bow down, let's stand up now. So standing up to receive the Lord. Who would like to stand up?
Prabhuji, before we move forward, can I ask one small question, please?
Sure.
Okay, so before coming to ISKCON, we were taught to touch the feet.
Of whom?
So that habit still continues, right? When you see your people, but I have seen like when devotees meet, they do not touch each other's feet, but they touch the floor in front of each other and say Hari Bol. What's that? Is that a special ritual that I'm not aware?
Well, so essentially what they're doing is they're saying, I want to take the dust off your lotus feet upon my head. So they're touching the floor. Similarly, the custom is that when you enter the temple, like if I can talk about ISKCON Toronto temple, for example, there's stairs leading to the main door where the shoes are. So before we take the first step, we touch the stair, basically with the idea of taking the dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas who have walked by and putting on our head. So again, our purification. So that's one thing. Second thing is that it's a very Hindu custom, touch the feet. The idea is that the blessings and the energy of the senior person, right? But Prabhupada said you have to become even more humble and offer obeisances as opposed to touching the feet. The second thing is that sannyasis don't want to have women touch their feet. So therefore, maintain the distance, offer obeisances, and then continue.
Just to add, Prabhuji, to your point, the fashion today is not even touching feet, just touching the knees or maybe higher.
Not even this, the air around the knees. And the other thing is, you should use the right hand, not left hand. So I see a lot of people these days, they use the left hand. They have just no idea. Nobody has told them.
Yeah.
So there are some, courtesy that they should follow. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Can I ask you small?
Of course, Sujata.
Prabhuji, female devotees are not supposed to do Dandavat Pranamam, correct, Prabhuji?
So say again, please.
Female devotees are not supposed to do Dandavat Pranamam.
Correct.
So when we say, but we say Dandavat Pranamam, Prabhuji, like that. So is that okay, Prabhu?
That's okay. Saying it is okay. Doing it is not.
Okay.
So basically, you're saying mentally, I offer you obeisances, just like a rod. That shows humility. So mentally, I'm doing this, but the different reason for why not doing it physically. So that's perfectly okay. It's just showing your humility.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure, you're welcome. Anybody else? Okay, all right. So then somebody please stand up to receive the Lord.
I will probably.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Oh,
standing up.
Gautam there. Hare Krishna. Go ahead.
Okay.
No, Madhumataji, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to stop you.
Okay. Standing up to receive the Lord. In the Brahma Puran, it is said, a person who sees the Lord's Rath Yatra car festival and then stands up to receive the Lord can purge in all kind of sinful results from his body.
How easy is that? How easy is that? Just stand up. That's all. Stand up in the mood to receive the Lord, but not just stand up in a challenging way, but receive the Lord. Please come. Please come. Okay,
Yes.
Go ahead with the second point also. Next point, I mean.
Okay. Following the deities. A similar statement is there in the Bhavisya Puran, in which it is said, even if born in a lowly family, a person who follows the Rath Yatra car, when the deities pass in front or from behind, will surely be elevated to the position of achieving equal opulence with Vishnu. Okay.
Right.
That's very good.
So again, the point is how kind is Lord Krishna? He's making it so easy. Just follow the card. Just stand up to receive. Just offer obeisances, and you'll come to me. Like unbelievable mercy. So easy. The process is so easy to serve him. Devotional path is very easy. Susukam kartum abhyayam. It's joy, full of joy to do it. It's really easy, and we just have to do it. That's all, with full faith, of course. Okay, somebody wants to read about going to places of pilgrimage?
I can read that.
Go ahead, please.
It is stated in the Puranas, persons who attempt to visit the holy places of pilgrimage, like Vrindavana, Mathura, or Dwaraka, are actually glorified. By such traveling activities, they can pass over the desert of material existence.
Right. So what's happening here? First of all, the Puranas are saying that anybody who visits these holy dhams is actually glorified. That's not for everyone. And the second is, by doing this pilgrimage, the traveling, they can pass over the desert of material existence. The material world is compared with the desert. What's the problem in the desert? There's all sorts of illusion. There's no water. There's no rest. All sorts of misery. Sun is beating on you very hard. Dust is, going inside your body, in your lungs. No water to drink. All those kind of things. So it's not good. And to cross a desert is very, very difficult. But if we simply visit the holy places, we can cross this material desert very simply, very easily. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph, please.
In the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, there is a statement about the benefit of visiting the temples of Lord Krishna. As we have explained previously in Vrindavana, Mathura and Dwaraka, the system is that all the devotees take advantage of visiting various temples situated in those holy places. It is stated in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, persons who are impelled by pure devotional service in Krishna consciousness and who therefore go to see the deities of Vishnu in the temple will surely get relief from entering again into the prison house of a mother's womb. The conditioned soul forgets the trouble of living within the mother's womb during birth, but it is a very painful and terrible experience. In order to make an escape from this material condition, one is advised to visit a temple of Vishnu with devotional consciousness. Then one can very easily get out of the miserable conditions of material birth.
Yeah. So basically, they're comparing the mother's womb with a prison. What's the characteristic of a prison? No freedom to move. You may be locked up in a cell. You only get to eat whatever is offered to you. And it's similar, if not a whole lot worse, in the mother's womb. I mean, you got maybe a few inches of space to grow in. You experience whatever your mother eats. If she's smoking, if she's having drugs, if she's drinking, if she's eating something very bitter, something very salty, something very pungent, something very hot, the baby with that soft skin actually feels all the pain. 9 months, for 9 months, there's no escape. And the baby prays to the Lord to please release me from this prison. But the moment he's released, he forgets all the promises he made to the Lord, forgets all the trouble and difficulties and miserable time he had within the womb, and therefore goes back to doing things that ensure his return to another womb of a mother. And this goes on. Continuously it goes on. So the Lord is saying, on the other hand, if you visit these holy places, you will not have to come back to the womb of another mother. Any questions or comments? Okay, so we bowed down, we stood up to receive. Now let's circumambulate the temple of Lord Vishnu. Who would like to circumambulate? Any volunteers? I see some people here who have not.
I will do it.
Please, Sonam, go ahead. Oh, sorry. Sakhi Swarupa.
Thank you, Lou. Circumambulating the temple of Vishnu. It is said in the Hari Bhakti Sudodaya, a person who is circumambulating the deity of Vishnu can counteract the circumambulation of repeated birth and death in this material world. The conditioned soul is circumambulating through repeated births and deaths on account of his material existence. And this can be counteracted simply by circumambulating the deity in the temple.
Yeah. So again, just want to say, just another very simple way. Circumambulate the deity and you stop the circumambulation of repeated birth and death. How much easier can it be? Right? So no more death, no more birth, no more material existence, just from simply circumambulating the deity in the temple. Okay, keep going.
The Chaturmasya ceremony is observed during the 4 months of the rainy season in India, approximately July, August, September, and October, beginning from Shravan. Shravan during these 4 months. Sawan, yeah.
Sawan ka mahina.
During these.
Go ahead.
During these 4 months, saintly persons who are accustomed to travel from one place to another to to propagate Krishna consciousness remain at one place, usually a holy place of pilgrimage. During these times, there are certain special rules and regulations that are strictly followed. It is stated in Skanda Purana that during this period, if someone circumambulates the temple of Vishnu at least 4 times, it is understood that he has traveled all over the universe. By the circumambulation, one is understood to have seen all the holy places where the Ganges water is flowing. And by following the regulative principles of Chaturmasya, one can very quickly be raised to the platform of devotional service.
Right. So, what's the most famous story about Chaturmas in Bhagavatam?
Narad Muni.
Yes, very
As a-
good. When he was 5 years old,
Serving the saints.
son of a maid servant. Yes.
Gopal Bhatta Goswami.
Yes, of course. Of course, that's not in Bhagavatam, but yes, your answer is correct. Yeah, okay. So the point is that these saintly people during the Chaturmasya don't travel, but they stay in one place and basically spend all their time in doing Krishna Katha. So anybody who has the opportunity to serve them, is able to benefit very, 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 very nicely. And again, Skanda Purana is saying that if somebody circumambulates the temple of Vishnu at least 4 times, then it is understood that he's traveled all over the universe. Just imagine. Circumambulate the temple 4 times as you travel the whole universe. It's like the story of Lord Ganesh and Kartikeya, who was supposed to traverse the universe. And Lord Ganesh went once around his parents, and he was Kartikeya in his peacock carrier, going like crazy. And it was the same effect. So anyway, the point is that by circumambulating the Lord 4 times is same as having gone to all the holy places where the Ganges water is flowing, and just by following the regulative principles, Chaturmas, you can quickly rise to the platform of devotional service. Somebody was trying to ask a question? I thought I heard a voice. Okay, so now you have circumambulated. Let's do some puja. Let's do some archana.
Archana.
Somebody wants to do that?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Archana. Archana means worship of the deity in the temple. By executing this process, one confirms himself to be not the body but spirit soul. In the 10th canto, 81st chapter, verse 19 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is told how Sudama, an intimate friend of Krishna's, while going to the house of Brahmana, murmured to himself, well, simply by worshipping Krishna, one can easily achieve all the results of heavenly opulence, liberation, supremacy over the planetary system of the universe, all the opulence of this material world, and the mystic power of performing the yoga system.
Go ahead, finish it. Yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. The events leading to Sudama's murmuring this statement are as follows. Sri Krishna had ordered his friend Sudama to go to the Brahmana's house and ask for some food. The Brahmanas were performing a great sacrifice, and Sri Krishna told Sudama to plead with them that he and Brahmana were feeling hungry and needed some food. When Sudama went there, the Brahmanas refused to offer anything, but the wives of Brahmanas, upon hearing that Sri Krishna wanted some foodstuff, immediately took many palatable dishes and went to offer them to Krishna. In the Vishnu Rahasya, also it is stated, any person with this world who is engaged in the worship of Vishnu can very easily achieve the ever blissful kingdom of God known as Vaikuntha Loka.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. So the whole idea of archanam, which is basically deity worship, like arti and things like that, is to purify the body and put some discipline in our life. So actually there's something called Bhut Shuddhi. Does anybody know the mantra for Bhut Shuddhi, which is the purification of the bodily elements? Hint is spoken by Lord Chaitanya. It's in Padyavali, also quoted Chaitanya Charitamrita. Another hint, Lord Chaitanya says who he is. Another hint, and he says who he is not. He talks about...
Naham Vipra.
Yes, go ahead. Sakhi Swarupa.
I don't remember it full, Prabhuji. Naham Vipra, Naham Shudra.
Naham Viprachana Rapatir Napi Vaishana Shudra Naham Varina Sagra Patir Novana Soyatirbo Kintu Proda Nikila Parmananda Purnamrutabdir Gopi Bhartur Padakamalayor Dasa Dasanu Dasa.
Pranam Panditji, Pranam. So yes. So yeah, well spoken. So that is the Bhut Shuddhi mantra. And we're supposed to chant that before we start Aarti. So anyway, the point is that Aarti also purifies all the bodily elements and reminds us that we are a spirit soul, not this body. So that's one point. Then the story of Lord Krishna asking his friend Sudama, not Sudama of Dwarka, different Sudama, this Sudama of Vrindavan, asking him and some other boys to go and get some food from the Brahmins who were performing fire sacrifices. And on his way, Sudama is saying, talking to himself, saying, I know why these guys are doing all that. Simply by worshiping Krishna, you get everything that you're going to get from these fire sacrifices. And sure enough, the Brahmins refuse to give any food to Krishna because they don't want to interrupt their fire sacrifice, considering that to be more important than Krishna. But their wives, they ran. They took everything they could possibly get on their trays and they ran to Krishna over the objection of their husbands. And basically the conclusion being given by another scripture, Vishnu Rahasya, that anybody who engages in the worship of Lord Vishnu very easily achieves Vaikuntha Loka. So again, if you're worshipping Lord Vishnu, you go to Vaikuntha Loka. If you're worshipping Krishna, you go to Goloka. Okay, it's 9:33, so we'll stop here. But of course, you're welcome to ask any questions or comments before we end the session.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Go ahead.
आपने जो story बताई about that person who that Muslim guy who saw somebody being saved from Yamadutas because his hand was touching Tulsi, right? So I understand that for us, our consciousness for whatever we do in our devotional life should be that it is to please Krishna, right? So we are wearing Tulsi because Krishna doesn't accept anything which does not have Tulsi. But is it okay to narrate this story to people who are not wearing Tulsi to encourage them to wear Tulsi?
Actually, it is, because as Prabhupada always said, somehow or the other, get them attracted to doing things that will be pleasing to Krishna, even if it is not directly pleasing to Krishna. So get them involved. And so if this helps them, then at least they will start doing that, and they tell them the rules and regulations about wearing the kanthi, and then hopefully they'll make progress from there. So like
so for now, just get them on board anyhow and keep praying that.
That's right.
Okay.
It's like when we meet people in the temple or elsewhere who say, I cannot quit tea, I cannot quit coffee, or I have to eat meat and all that. We don't tell them not to.
Mm-hmm.
We don't tell them to stop. We just tell them, don't worry about it, just chant. Because the holy name will make them do it.
Mm-hmm.
You and I cannot do that. So yeah, the same idea.
Mm-hmm. And Prabhuji, also in preaching, is it okay if we focus on telling people do's first? Because most of the people get scared of the don'ts, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we have to be gentle also. We should always remember one thing. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritano arjuna, right? It takes a lot of effort and a lot of births for somebody to even want to come to the temple, even want to know something about devotional service.
Yeah.
And you scare them away, you've actually offended Krishna a lot. So in the beginning of this ISKCON movement used to be, somebody says, oh, I eat non-prasadam, means it's not meat. And the finger is wagged on their head, you will go to hell, you're in Maya. That's scary to people, they walk away. You lost them forever.
Yeah.
So, so don't do that. Accept whatever they're doing and gauge how much are they willing to accept at this time. And only give them what they can swallow. It's like you don't want to, put a water hose from a fire hose in somebody's mouth. They can't gulp it. They'll choke. So if you have to spoon feed them, spoon feed them. I think Jessica is raising her hand.
No.
Okay.
Yes, this is definitely always a discussion between book distributors, and my main service is that. Again, number one rule of book distribution is always leave a good impression, right? Like,
correct.
Again, you don't have to give a full stream Bhagavatam lecture on the street in a 5-minute conversation. What I've learned, kind of speaking to other devotees from around the world, everybody is always looking for a friend, a community, something that they feel connected to, somebody, to kind of learn something from. If they're open-hearted and open-minded, they will listen to what you have to say. But, it's a two-way street. I always like to kind of train or, tell other devotees that if you want them to be compassionate and open-minded to hearing what we have to say, we also have to be very compassionate to where they are in their stage of their life, right?
Correct.
If we always think that, we're better than them and they don't know better and they better do this, all that service actually goes out the window, because our intention is not there to serve them, but for them to serve our ego.
Correct.
So kind of keeping that in mind.
Yes, good point. Good point. Thank you. Anyone else? Any comments, realizations, questions?
Prabhuji, what I wanted to add a comment.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. No, there was somebody else who wanted to add, right? No, it's okay. No, I was just, as we were discussing all these things, I was just thinking how easy devotional service is, because most of the things, whatever we discussed today, is what we all literally practice, right? When we go to the temple, we bow down, we dance, we clap, we eat prasadam, we wear Tulsi Beads, we wear Tilaka. And I was just thinking on the flip side, we have to be very careful when we do this and say this, because, we could easily get puffed up. And because in everything, there is a point which is there in the scriptures, which says this will liberate you, this will liberate you. And then, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing all these things. So, I don't have an expert. I can get liberated in this world because I'm doing all this stuff. But the point to be noted here is one of the Prabhujis was reading that devotional consciousness, that humility, that the mood with which we are surrendering to Krishna is very, very important, Prabhu, rather than, it could easily pave way for us to, get puffed up and, thinking that I am I'm superior to others. But am I there yet? No, because I'm just doing all this because somebody has told me to do it. And I'm not quite sure if I'm really doing it with that
mood of surrender to Krishna. And I think that is very important. And that's something what we have to pass on to, that's the message we have to give to others, because we could easily get up, I feel. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Thank you. Very good point. But I would add to that even more important than giving these messages to other people is to realize these points for ourselves. I always think of the comments that Krishnadas Kaviraj makes in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, that if you take my name, you'll fall down. If you see my face, your devotional service will suffer. And I'm saying, these are pure devotees writing a scripture, the standard of Chaitanya Charitamrita. How can they feel that somebody will fall down if they took their name? How can they be so humble? And it bothered me that why would they be like this? Is this artificial? And then somebody explained to me that their standards are different. They're holding themselves to a different standard than you and I hold ourselves. And that still didn't quite sink in until I started reading about Virat Kohli. I don't know how many of you know that name. He's a former captain of Indian cricket team, a very prolific batter and cricketer. Right now he's in big trouble. Why is he in big trouble? Because for 71 innings he has played, he has not scored a single century. Now, I know many, many players who think they're the greatest players in the world and never scored one century. Forget about scoring as many as he has. So what's the difference? And they're talking about dropping him from the team and all those kind of things. Why? Because it's a different standard. Like I played cricket at university level, but no higher. And I mean, the fastest ball that ever came to me was maybe 80 kilometers an hour. Nowadays, spinners bowl faster than that. And the fast bowlers do 150 kilometers an hour. Totally different ball game, totally different standards. And if I scored 30 runs, I was a hero. And this guy scoring 50 and 60 is a bum. And that's my point, different standards. The reason I'm mentioning that is that we have to constantly improve our standard of measurement. And if we do that, we'll find that we're always lacking. Just because chanting 16 rounds not so carefully doesn't make us a great devotee. We have to keep changing the scale on which we measure ourselves. Why? Because we're trying to get the highest possible, highest available goal, and that is Krishna and the love of Krishna. It's not an easy matter. We're not talking about getting a high school certificate, diploma. We're not talking about getting a PhD in the mundane world. We're not talking about becoming a president of a company. Those are nothing. Those are nothing. We're talking about achieving the love of Krishna, nothing higher than that. So therefore, we have to hold ourselves to a higher standard. And the humility will come only if we do that. The moment we lower our standard, we look very good in our own eyes, we become puffed up, and Krishna says, okay, goodbye. Krishna tolerates a lot of things, but not the pride and not the envy. So we have to be very, very conscious of that. And if we are, we will not become puffed up. We'll only say to ourselves, I got long ways to go. So much need for improvement, so much room for improvement, because that's the truth. We have long ways to go. There's so much room for improvement in our life, in our devotional life.
Thank you, Prabhu. So beautifully said. So beautifully said. Oh my God, I have to internalize every word of yours. So beautiful.
Yeah. Nana is saying we have to keep raising the bar, and that's exactly right. Keep raising the bar, because otherwise we'll be stuck. We'll still be stuck here. Maybe keep coming back as devotee or sadhak, which is the Vaidhi Bhakti devotee, and we just keep staying in that. We just stay in that, but we keep coming back. Very little improvement. We don't want to do that. If we really want to go back home, back to God at ASAP, then you have to raise that bar. You have to expect more from us.
Prabhu, that phrase is very common, starting with a clean slate.
Yes.
Now we have things on our slate. We just
Yes,
have to improve
yeah, I know. We have
and get
lots.
better. Yes.
We have lots. And the other problem is the duster we are using is dirty to start with. So as we dust it off, it becomes even more dirty. In other words, the remedies we keep coming up with cause us more problems. So it's simple, but it's not it's simple only if we follow the process. It's simple only if we have the right attitude. It's simple only if we keep begging for mercy of the devotees. I mean, all we have to do is read the bhajans by Narottam Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, how full of humility they are. Mosam patite prabhu na paive are. Narottam Das Thakur is saying, there's nobody more fallen than me. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, just because I screwed up once, does that mean you'll never show me your mercy? My dear Lord Gopinath, do not walk away from me. I need your help. I need your mercy. This is Bhaktivinoda Thakur. This is Narottam Das Thakur. Who are we? But very quickly, the moment we have memorized 7 verses from Gita and 3 from Bhagavatam, we start thinking we have become pure devotee. And that's the problem. That's what's going to keep us here for a long, long time.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Anand Kumar Prabhu, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Prabhuji?
Very good. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah. So I have a question on this, Prabhuji.
Mm-hmm.
Question or like, I don't know. I mean, like maybe I have to say something. So for sure, after starting like attending to classes, I have definitely raised my bar.
Good.
And for sure, I mean, like I'm very, very grateful for giving me this opportunity. But on the flip side, like every time I raise the bar, and if I can't achieve that, right, like I feel very guilty. Like every day, every minute, I feel like I am not doing enough. And sometimes I feel confidence. I mean, sometimes I lose confidence of like whatever I'm doing also. Did you understand what I?
Yes,
what
totally understand.
Yeah. So I like there are 2 things, right? Like one, of course, I feel proud of whatever I'm learning, whatever I'm getting to know. But at the same time, every time I know something that I'm not doing or like I have to avoid, I feel like more and more guilt. Like that happens like every day, every minute. I don't know. I mean, like that is not actually a good state of mind in my belief, but I don't know, like any comments, any suggestions on that?
Yeah. So Prabhu, thank you very much for this wonderful question. It's a very practical, very real scenario that you're drawing. And so Prabhu, a couple of things. One is you will not be depressed, nor will you be puffed up if you remember one thing. And that is chapter 7, text 8, where Krishna says, Paurusham Nasham. He says, I'm the ability in man. In other words, as long as you recognize that whatever you're able to do is Krishna. But for Krishna's mercy, you will not be able to raise a glass of water to drink. But for mercy of Krishna, you will not be able to breathe, see, hear, or whatever. Walk. So that's one thing. Therefore, whatever you're doing is by the mercy of the Lord, not your doing. Second thing is 247, Karmanevadhikaraste, which means your job is to endeavor. Krishna's job is to give you mercy when you endeavor. So you do your job, let Krishna do his job. In other words, how much progress you're making is not yours to decide or measure. Let Krishna do that. Your job is to make more and more endeavor, more and more sincerely, more and more from the heart, not from the mind. The moment you start using mind, you're in trouble. Make your mind inactive, make your heart active. Let it come from the heart, not from the mind. And then all those things we read today, just doing them once will get you the result. The fact that we do them millions of times and not get the result is because we're not doing from the heart. So that's where our focus should be. So you want to be humble, you basically say, I'm doing all this and I'll do more, but because I'm not doing from the heart, I'm not getting the result. So my dear Lord Krishna, please show me some mercy, purify my heart, so I can start doing it from the heart. If you do that, you'll never become puffed up, you'll never become depressed either, because the results are coming from Krishna. Your role is simply endeavor. As long as you're satisfied that you're doing the best you can, you have nothing to worry about. Did Krishna decide when you're ready to receive further mercy? You're already getting mercy, don't get me wrong. You're already getting, without which you will not be sitting in this call, without which you will not be chanting, without which you will not be reading Srimad Bhagavatam, without which you will not go to the temple, on and on and on. So you already have that. Now we talk about more. It's always about more mercy. It's called laulyam, it's called greediness. The secret to going to Golok Vrindavan Dham is greediness to go there. The secret to get Krishna is greediness to get Krishna. And that's what we want to be. We want to be very greedy, but for Krishna.
Thank you.
You're welcome, bro. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what, like rightly said, stop using mind and start using heart.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
The mind is for Mayavadis.
Yes.
Let them do their analysis. Let them do their speculation. We don't want to do that. We don't want to use our mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes sense, Prabhuji. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone last one question, anybody? Okay, all right then. Sorry it took a little longer than the normal time. Appreciate your attention, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha. Just as one other point, next Thursday is Lord Balaram's appearance day. And because the most temples have opened, this in-person service in the temple. So my feeling is that most of you will be in a temple on Thursday. So we'll skip the class on Thursday, celebrate Lord Balaram's appearance day in the temple, and then we'll meet Thursday after that. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Krishna Prabhu, thank you again.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Sri
Thank you.
Sarupa.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Gautam, it was really nice to see you in the temple the other day.
Nice seeing you.
Really nice to see
Prabhu.
you.
It was a very surprise.
Yeah, me
I
too.
was
First
very
time.
pleased to
Yeah, really
see you in
nice.
person. I was
Yeah.
very humbled and very thankful for the opportunity
No,
to
I
see
really,
you and Gopal Krishna Maharaj.
yeah, that's right. That's great. Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.